A lot of people seem to think that PR is a waste of money. Let me disprove that to you by showing a real life case study from the 1910s. The story is of John D. Rockefeller Jr., or Little Johnny for short, and I'm going to tell you the story that led to the PR nightmare or the reputational damage, and then I will tell you the PR moves he did to get out of that situation. So, Little Johnny was the biggest shareholder of the Colorado Fuel and Iron Company. And his employees, the coal miners, they were protesting. And they had two major demands. The first one is they wanted 10% hike in their wages. And the second one is that they wanted 8-hour workdays. Like this was the time when people were from sunup to sundown. From a billionaire standpoint, this is bad news because it obviously means less profits, but it also means that the workers have rights. Because today, if you agree to a 10% hike and 8-hour workday, 6 months later, they may ask for 20% hike and the weekends off. And when is it gonna end, right? So little Johnny thought of dealing with the situation with an iron fist, and he went to the governor of Colorado, gave him some money. The governor then deployed the National Guards with machine guns, and he also sent an armored vehicle called the Death Car with a mounted machine gun on top of it to basically kill the coal miners and their families. The entire event is known as the Ludlow Massacre. And around 66 people died. This include the coal miners who were protesting and their families, because just killing your employees is not enough. You have to kill their families to instill fear in their hearts. Now, from a billionaire standpoint, business move, right? However, it led to a lot of reputational damage, as you may imagine. All of the newspapers and tabloids at the time, they were talking shit about Lil Johnny and portraying him as the key orchestrator of the Ludlow Massacre, which he was, but it is bad for business when people know that you are a billionaire and a piece of shit. So, what did Lil Johnny do? So, Lil Johnny hired a guy called Ivy Lee, who is in some circles known as the father of the modern PR. You will know shortly why. And Ivy Lee did four things to repair the tarnished public image of Lil Johnny. The first thing he did was to deny the allegations outright. He simply gave a statement that people should wait until all of the investigations have been completed. And investigations are slow, and this was the 1910s. Nobody had internet, nobody had any real way of getting information. A lot of people are illiterate too. He just said that Little Johnny is not directly involved with this, it's some other management people. You gotta wait until all of the investigations are finished. The second thing Lee did was launch a smear campaign against the accusers. So the people who are accusing Little Johnny of committing mass murder, which he actually did, the people who are accusing him of that, he launched a smear campaign against them to tarnish their reputation and question their credibility. So one of the people were Mother Jones, and she was a labor unionizer. So she traveled across America at the time to get all of the factory workers together and encourage them to form unions and fight for their rights. Ivy Lee spread information that she used to be a whore and is on the bankroll of the United Mines Workers Association, basically saying that she is accusing Little Johnny, who is actually innocent, just for money, just for reputation, and her character is poor. Was any of this true? It really doesn't matter at this point, because when you throw all of this type of heavy allegations out, people are going to take a pause to think about it. By the time all of the truth comes out, people would have moved on and it wouldn't have mattered. It gives Lil Jon a little bit of extra breathing room, which they definitely needed, because you literally ordered the killings of your own employees and their families, right? The third thing Ivy Lee did was to take control of the narrative. He started a misinformation pamphlet called the Logan District Mines Information Bureau, quite a mouthful. And the information that I told you earlier about like Mother Jones being a whore and being on the payroll and acting for her own financial interests, all of that misinformation was disseminated through this pamphlet. And the reason why this was effective because it was seen as an official source on behalf of the Colorado Fuel and Iron Company, on behalf of Little Johnny. So people paid attention to that. And this is an amazing trick because when people go through controversies, their first instinct is to shut up and let it pay itself out. You shouldn't do that. You should actually, if you're guilty in particular, you should definitely join the conversation, definitely continue adding more and more information into it, even though it's absolutely bullshit and garbage and a lie, because it distracts people. It buys you some time and it calms people down. The more time you buy, the more calm people will get. And with time, people forget, man. People forget. And the fourth and final thing Ivy Lee did was to humanize Little Johnny. So John, being a billionaire, he maintained a very private life. But after the Ludlow massacre, that changed. He started being more and more public. He was seen playing golf. He was publicly seen giving dimes away to little kids, giving quips and quotes to newspapers and tablets. These 4 PR moves were so good that eventually Little Johnny ended up on the front page of the Time magazine. Right now, if you go to John's Wikipedia page, in the first paragraph, there is only one sentence about the Ludlow massacre in the first paragraph. And this is what it says. It's very interesting. He was widely blamed for having orchestrated the Ludlow massacre and other offenses during the Colorado Coalfield War. The word blamed is quite interesting because it insinuates that he didn't do anything wrong. He was just a victim of the circumstances and people just talk shit about him because he was the billionaire and he was the largest shareholder and he was an easy target. This is what it insinuates, which obviously is not true. And that proves that public relations absolutely work. Especially if you got money to spare and be a little bit more charitable, you can get away with murder. Cold-blooded murder, women and children, round them up and kill them with machine guns, doesn't really matter. And this is exactly why companies need PR departments. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.